let's get into some introductions. We're also going to do something a little bit different. We typically do the first ad read of the show right after the introductions. Why not try switching it up a little bit? We're going to try the first segment before we get to the ad read, so that we have something to break it up a little bit. We'll see how that flows, and we'll either toss it out next week or we'll keep it going. Starting up first, this is a supersonic supporter with enough energy to power the entire panel. He's a globetrotting gamer, a sharpshooting savant, and a diehard fan of Gamified and Simplified, who's practically a part of the furniture at this point. From the sporting goods scene to the digital battlegrounds of shrapnel, he's conquered it all with a smile and a fistful of frags. But his greatest achievement ever is showing up for nearly every episode, rain or shine, with enough enthusiasm to make the sun blush. He's the jet-setting juggernaut, the king of the kill streak, the ultimate hype man, and the redemption arc continues well past episode 100 for Dub.
Holy shit, man. Like, yeah, this is one of my best days of my life, I think. I slept in, just everything's fucking right. It's episode 100. I got all the feels, man. I'm at a loss of words. Congrats, Sam. This thing is like defined my Web3 journey. Like, thinking back on all of it, this and Wolves DAO is really what's been it for me. So, thank you for this. Let the good times roll, baby.
Things you love to hear. Thank you for all of your incredible support, Dub. I appreciate you, man. Up next, hold on to your Joy Cons, because this next guest is a Super Smash Bros. Savant who's dodged disaster and defied the flames. He escaped the Palisades fire with nothing but his Nintendo Switch and a dream, and he's bringing his gaming brilliance to the blockchain as the newest member of the Gaming on AVAX team. We're happy that you're safe, but give it up for the Inferno escape artist, the indie game aficionado. It's the one and only Wills.
Oh, you got me rolling with that one, Sam. I actually also grabbed my vintage Destiny 1 PS4 as well. Wasn't about to leave that behind.
My man, a true gamer, if you can't tell. Great to have you, Will. So glad that you and the family are safe. Hopefully, it doesn't displace you for too long, brother. And up next, you got to kill the lights and cue the casino sounds. From Team Liquid to Alibaba, Vegas to Macau. He's conquered the corporate world, and now he's set his sights on the Wild West Web3. He's the mastermind behind My Angry Yakuza Girlfriend, a man who's not afraid to break the rules and challenge the status quo. But here's his secret, folks, this titan of taboo, this revolutionary of risk, is the unsung hero of Gamified. He was the first guest to truly let loose, to drop truth bombs, to spark controversy that fueled our fiery rise. We owe him a debt of gratitude we can never repay. He's the founder who can't be bought, the man who made Gamified great, and the undisputed titan of taboo. It's Sinjin.
Fuck yeah, let's get it on today, motherfuckers. I'm ready to eat some souls too.
You absolute beauty that has not slept. I appreciate you, man. Up next, he's the architect of Arc, the revolutionary AI that's reshaping reality and redefining player liquidity. Imagine a world where every game is perfectly balanced, where every player has a chance to shine, and where the power of AI enhances the thrill of the game. That's the world that he's building, one brilliant line of code at a time. He's the warlock of Wall Street, the warrior of Web3, the visionary who's weaving a future where AI and gaming collide like a symphony of innovation. It's the Wayfinder. When I ask him to come on Gamified, he says always. And when he's coming to you live over the air waves from Mark in AI Arena, it's Way.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Love that. It's great to be here on the 100th episode. I'm really excited for this. Thanks for having me and appreciate the intro, Sam.
Great to have you, brother. It's always a pleasure. Yeah, I was cracking myself up whenever I wrote those, but the pronunciation needs a little work. The subtlety was not there, but we'll work on it. Up next, forget your fancy firewalls and your bulletproof bunkers, because this next guest is a marketing maverick who leaps into the flames of controversy with a smile. When others are tiptoeing around taboos, he's driving headfirst into the digital discourse, bringing the heat and the humor to the early days of Gamified. He's not just a marketing guru at Uptick, he's a gladiator of Gamified, a loyal legend who's been with us through thick and thin. Give it up for the man who's not afraid of a little fire. It's the golden god, the man who's willing to duel with the titan of taboo. It's Jerry Singer.
Hey, what's up? Yeah, man, this is super cool to be here on episode 100. Yeah, Sam, I hope this goes without saying, man, I'm super proud of you for being the dude who sheepishly walked up to me at a dimly lit bar in San Francisco to now being one of my best friends in the world. Love you, man. Super proud of you, and thank you for not using my name for puns and saying like, "Oh, he's geriatric." Or anything like that, because you actually called me cool in Gen Z terms today. You said I had big aura, which I appreciated.
I thought you'd like that, man. It took everything in me not to write something in that thread about how you're like 400 pounds and 7 feet tall, but it
I
is
am
true.
currently also dual wielding quesadillas, so I might be well on my way to 400 pounds.
All right, we'll edit the thread if Twitter will let me. No, seriously, Jerry, thank you so much, man, for everything you contributed to the show over the years. And got to lead into another one. He's not just a founder; he's a phenomenon, amassing a collection that would make museums weep with envy. Wait, fuck, this is the old one. Damn it! I got to go find the new Koji intro. Hang on, we're gonna switch it up. We're gonna switch it up. Swapping Super Mario for surreal spaces. This Sultan of the Sublime is shaping a new reality with the power of AI. He's the architect of avatars, the designer of dreams, the visionary behind the virtual world that's bursting with wonder. Imagine your favorite characters teleporting between titles, their skills and stories seamlessly shifting between digital dimensions. He's bridging worlds with Limbo, the AI agent that's breaking barriers and blending the boundaries of Unreal Engine. Get ready to meet the man who's morphing multiverses. It's Michael O'Connor.
Yo, thanks so much. Yeah, wild. So cool to be here for episode 100. What an incredible journey it's been. Congrats, Sam, on persevering through all of it. And here you are, amazing to be on here with everyone. Was also quite intrigued from that botched Koji intro, by the way. What was this museum lark? I mean, I've never, is there some history of museums in Koji that I don't know about?
Oh, you sweet summer child.
Dude, I'm so bummed. I wrote such a good one for Koji, and I can't find it. I have no idea where it went. This is why I need Lems, man. This is why I need Lems right here. Koji, I'm sorry, dude. I got to give you the old one, or I could just. I mean, we all from parallel. It's Koji.
What's up, guys? Yeah, I mean that sounds about right for episode 100. We're about where I thought we would be. So,
Crazy how far
thanks for
we've
having
come.
me. Yeah, that's right.
I think that was
That's right.
MVP intro that I've ever heard on this show. It's going in the books.
Fucking yikes. I'm so sorry, man. I promise next week I'll give you 3 intros. They'll all be unique and it'll be amazing. Next, he's the architect behind Glitter Cloud Solutions, a Web3 consultancy that's not just glitter, it's gold. This man once wielded a 100 million budget at Twitch Prime, conjuring up campaigns that captivated countless kids and creators. But that's not all. This magnificent maverick is also the maestro behind the magic of gamified success. He's the godfather of this glorious gathering, the one who first believed in our bizarre brand of blockchain banter. Without him, we wouldn't be here celebrating this momentous 100th episode. He was the first one to bring us a long-term contract. It is the tank. It is the tidal wave of a man, the titan. It's Tony V.
Yo, let's go, boys! Sam, congratulations, man. 100 episodes, and honestly, this is the best show in Web3, best show on X or Twitter, whatever we call it these days. Love you, brother. So proud to be up here, and let's talk some shit. I love it.
I love you, man. Thank you so much for everything you did for the show. Continue to do for me. I know I put it in the thread. If anybody hasn't had a chance to read, again, it's way too fucking long. But I poured my heart into that one. Everybody that's mentioned in that truly means the world to me. I also had a knock intro. I don't know what's going on over here. He's the gamer who gamed gamers, the pro who manages pros, the esports king, crowned the next generation of Fortnite champions. He's traded headshots for headsets, now swap frags for finance, and he's the maestro at Magic Eden. Put your hands together for the man who mastered the art of the game, the guru of good times, the one and only. It's Knock. Dude, I'm sorry. The old intro is stale, dude. It's so stale.
Episode 100, Sam. Holy shit, dude. It's been like, what, 160 episodes we've done together now between Simplified, Rumble, Gamified. Fucking incredible to see the empire you've built. I think it's like the best part of a lot of our week, so excited for this one.
I appreciate you tremendously. If people don't know, Knock was also the man who did Rumble with me. He does Simplified with me. He was also on some other shows that I spun up briefly and then ended up not committing to. It is absolutely insane how much he has to do with my success over the past couple of years. Forever grateful for Knock. He's so smart that I literally have to design new game modes for him. And there's things I literally can't do because I can't find a second person that's eloquent and smart enough to like match up with him that I can get on shows every single week. So forever grateful for you, buddy. And we're gonna jump into the first little segment. We're gonna mix in and out of nostalgia and then things that we typically do as far as segments go, because I think doing 2 hours of nostalgia, everybody gets kind of tired of it. And I want to try my best to not overly do it. The first thing that we're going to do, though, is I'm going to give you guys a couple of iconic quotes, okay, from the history of Gamified. We'll just do this for a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to give you 3 names that are associated, potentially associated with this quote. You guys have to thumbs up or thumbs down whenever you think you've got the person that said it. Okay, first up, it's an attention economy that we're in. It doesn't matter how good you are. You could fart in a kazoo, and people are going to be like, "Yo, that kazoo farter guy, what a genius!" So I think you just need eyeballs, and the rest will come. Who said it? Is it Kevin Lambert? Thumbs up, thumbs down. No one thinks it was Kevin Lambert. Was it Parker from AVAX? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Tony says it's Parker, but nobody else does. Was it Koji? Fucking iconic Koji quote, dude. That one gets me absolutely every time. Thanks, buddy, for giving us that one. All right, up next. Uh, this is the fucking Wild West. Excuse me. This is fucking wild that people think these guys are Chads. Do you think that Bertie Madoff was a great investor or something? Was this Charlie? Thumbs down. Was it my boy Lems, or was it Tony Valcarcel? Everybody, fuck, you guys are all so good. Yeah, Tony said that. Tony thumbs down to himself. Oh wait, no, it was Charlie. It was Charlie. My bad. You're all wrong. It wasn't Tony. It was Charlie. Shout out to Charlie. Fucking, my notes are so disorganized without Lems, guys. I'm in shambles. All right, what's the word? The word is who gives a fuck, dude. What are we doing, dude? We could be playing video games and having fun instead of these people wanting to watch Hamlet. Was this Koji? Thumbs downs. Wow, I thought people would think that was Koji. Sinjin. Did Sinjin say that one? Couple people think it was Sinjin, or was it Jerry? Yeah, that was a big Jerry quote. We were talking about somebody made a Grand Theft Auto 5 movie where it played out Hamlet for 89 minutes. And that really pissed him off. Pissed me off too. It's okay, buddy. All right, two more to go. Two more to go. We're going to get all y'all moms to drop fat stacks on crypto, y'all. Let's go. Was this Coop? Only one thumbs up on Coop. All right, was this Paul Bettner? Wow, everybody thinks it was Paul. Was it Jerry? Nobody wants to give that one to Jerry. It was Paul. Damn, I thought you guys. That was only a month ago. It was so good. And then, last but not least, I am a hammer, and you are all my fucking nails. Was this Sinjin? Yeah, okay, I'm just gonna skip the other. Yeah, that was Sinjin. You're all right. Congratulations. All right, hold on to your helmets, heroes, and prepare for a cryogenic kickoff of the colossal shout out to our cutting edge comrades, the official chain of Gamified. It's Avalanche. They're not just the architects, they're the blockchain blizzard. They're the Frost Forge foundation of the future of finance, the sub zero savants making transactions faster than a polar bear on a toboggan, in the official blockchain of Gamified. With Avalanche, you're not just playing the game, you're carving your own path and customizing your very own blockchain. So why not keep all that value right where it belongs? On your very own Avalanche L1. And up next, the Game Chasers of Game 7. They're bulldozing the barriers between gamers and glorious gameplay with their tremendous toolkit. Summon is the sonic boom of player retention. Hyperplay is your hyperspace express to hidden Web3 havens and world builders where wondrous in-game economies are woven into existence. So grab your gamepads and gear up for a gaming genesis with Game 7, the official infrastructure of Gamified. And of course, last but not least, at Gamified, we shoot for the stars every single week, and our sponsor, Star Atlas, is rewriting the cosmos. This interstellar icon isn't merely a game, it's a space opera for the ages with high-fidelity visuals and gameplay slicker than sliding back into a black hole. Star Atlas is piloting Web3 gaming into hyperdrive, and don't forget the Golden Carnival, where they're handing out $4 million in prizes. A cosmic salute to Star Atlas for sponsoring our voyage as the official game of Gamified. And of course, speaking of giveaways, I got those GLH Efforts whitelists. I haven't had a chance to go through the comments. Lots going on over here without my co-host, but I will give another one to somebody that answers the same topic in the comments as soon as I have a chance to look at them. Play to earn is actually working? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Pixels reports that they burned 80,000 more pixel meaning the token, than it gave out during a week-long beta. So that means that they actually were plus EV 80K pixel, which means that they could have potentially made money here. Instead, they decided to burn it. Respect for that, but there's a system here that might be working. Have they cracked the code on play to earn, or is this only people speculating on a new game mode that won't spend the same going forward once that speculative aspect of it is potentially moved or dampened? Dub has the hand up first. Over to you, buddy.
Yeah, dude. I don't think this is pure speculation. Like there's a little bit of that flavored in there. Like it's the salt on the steak a little bit. But it's basically like because Thousands did exactly the same thing recently with their Art Basel activation. And it sounds like you do an event, you put up a prize pool, you say that's what it's going to be, and then you gate access. And the revenue you make is based off people buying into that, buying the access for that, and the revenue you make from that. So I feel like there's a model here. It seems to be working for a couple different ones, not just Pixel, and I think it's the next thing. And but it is requiring people to be speculative in the first place. So we'll see how sustainable it really is in the long term.
Play to burn sounds pretty good.
That is sick. Kevin, you said you had some spice on this one in the DMs today. I would love to get your take.
Yeah. Um, well, the topic you had was more about the sustainability of play to earn, but you're asking a little bit about specifics. But I have a bit of a hot take on the sustainability of it. I feel like it is my hot take here is that play to earn is not sustainable in large numbers of the audience. Like if you were to take your players as a little Venn diagram, or you got your spheres of each why they're here and what they're doing. I think a play to earn game can sustain a very small segment of players indefinitely. Look at like Magic the Gathering, the physical collectible card game, right? That game has been out since 1990, and there is a small percentage of players who crack packs, throw away commons, sleeve rares, and flip them on eBay, and that's all they do. And then they may or may not even play the game, but those are the play to earners that are there, and they're really monetizing that experience. Um, as soon as you start to approach, like, let's just say 50% of the audience who have an earn motivation, like it quickly becomes like, well, who are they going to sell to, right? Because then the next 50% come in and they want to sell, and there's like you run out of buyers real fast without exponential growth, and we've seen games die as the profits dwindle from play to earn. So I do think it's good. I do think it fits Web3. I do think it can be exciting, but I don't think it is sustainable long term at scale. You really have to limit the number of seats on the earn bus, and if you do that, then it can be. Curious what other people think.
Great takes from Kevin. Let's go over to Koji.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love the idea of us doing that. Is this the new blank? Because I think we've learned time and time again that like right now we're like Web3 in general is not in a space where we can have like the new whatever and then everyone else does it. Like I think we've seen enough examples that not everything will work for everyone, or not even everything will work for most people. Someone can come up with something innovative, a couple people can ride the coattails, and then it's over, right? And it's happened over and over and over again. And I think like what we have to do is just like as products, we as the people who are making the games, I suppose, as products, find an interesting hook that we can latch onto and call ours and push that to our audience, but not look at what all these other people are doing and be like, let's just do that, let's just do that, let's just do that. Because like ultimately that's when games just like fail, right? Like we've seen it a bunch of times that we talk about on the show all the time. They're like, oh, they had the playbook, they had the playbook. There's no fucking playbook, man. There's no throw it out the window, because like you just got to figure out what works for you and then ride that. And trying to copy somebody else will never work for you.
IC says only 100 emojis allowed on today's show. I agree. If I see anything else, you guys are dead to me. Let's go over to Will Spangler.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to second Kevin here. I've been notoriously anti play to earn, because I kind of came into the space properly right on the kind of end of that sort of first cycle where everything was a DeFi protocol in a fantasy world or a cyberpunk world, but it was all just DeFi protocols with skins on them. And I think he was exactly right in that the audience is small. And I remember I can't remember. I think it was last week. Gway made the post about who is your audience, and just like Koji was saying, figuring out who you're making a game for and who is going to want to engage with that. And if you're making a DeFi protocol with a fantasy skin or a pixelated skin, that's great. But that can only go so far, in terms of how big of a game it can be, in my opinion. And I think that, yeah, I don't think play to earn works, like, fundamentally, unless there's barriers to the earning, and there are, like, distinct checks for who is earning and how they are earning. I'm a huge believer in skill-based earning, tournaments, esports, stuff like that. I'm excited to hear Nock's take on all of this. But I think that the idea that you can just have a like everyone comes in and makes a bunch of money, because that's the pitch of play to earn, is everybody makes a bunch of money, but that's never how it works. And I think that I think if you were to take a survey of everyone who's playing pixels, those people are all trading on exchanges and dexes and trading meme coins and shit coins as well. Those people aren't playing. They might be playing Balatro on the side, but that's they're not playing pixels for the same reason that they're playing Balatro. I would argue, and that's what I think we need to take into account when looking at these numbers.
Great takes from Mr. Will Spangler. I've got some owning up to do about Balatro too. I'm gonna save it for later in the show, but holy shit, okay, the game is even better than I thought it was after I poured another 40 hours into it. Cairo with a great comment. He says Pixels new game mode is like Bomberman. It was very fun and addictive. I think Pixels is experimenting well, and as they figure it out, they will continue to make play to earn work. They are one of the champions of play to earn for sure. Bryson, do you agree, Cairo? You're getting a GLA HFers. Jesus, it's hard to say. Whitelist, thanks so much for the great comment. Bryson, over to you.
I mean, I would agree with Cairo in terms of I think that Pixels has been kind of a beacon of light in the play to earn world, and they kind of like fill that space where like you know the traditional Axie kind of the play to earn model shown that it wasn't sustainable. I'm not gonna say like I personally don't believe that any model of play to earn is sustainable because you end up getting to a point of diminishing returns as you get more players playing the game. But I do believe that there is a world where you can see play to earn come back and be, something people are doing for a limited amount of time until, of course, until like the Ponzi part of it like falls out from under everyone. However, one thing that isn't taken into account often is the amount of content that if you can potentially ship it, you can make this model last a little bit longer. Whereas Axie's really struggled shipping out consistent content that could satisfy the SLP currency at the time. But if you look at a more of a model like a Fortnite, where they're shipping out a new update every week, there's always something to play, purchase, etc., etc. There is a way where you can kind of like make the play to earn Ponzi last a little bit longer. But I don't think that like overall it's a sustainable or a long term mechanism for building a game, because in the same light as like people playing to earn, it's like yeah, it's great that you have people in developing nations like making a little bit of extra money, and like that's like the whole story behind that is cool, which is like the things we loved about Axie originally. But like that doesn't sustain a business long term. It might sustain a token temporarily, but long term, you're going to either need a ton of content to keep people coming in, or you need someone else that isn't the play to earn audience that's just playing to make a living, just being willing to like jump in and spend money because it makes sense from an actual leisure standpoint. And I think that's kind of what was missing and has continued to be missing in these like very like quick style games where it's like, oh, you're playing to earn and you click buttons and you're in this little pixelated world. But I do think like in terms of what Pixels has done, it's been like dope to see kind of someone take the play to earn model and make it last a little bit longer. But I'm just not a huge fan of the category long term.
Great takes from Bryson. Got to give a huge shout out to the comments. Already 77. Appreciate everybody. Wish I could read all of them off. Dave Schick, though, hits us with a great one. He's got a parallel avatar as a PFP, and he's been around on Gamified before. He says, play to earn works as the model scales with the player base and rewards skill accordingly. The game should be the factor that draws people on, not the financial aspect. And free to play players can also earn from tournaments, which is a bit different as that is not 100% Web3. Appreciate you chiming in, brother. Let's go to Peyton, then we'll go to Gway, the curator of Canines, the patron of Pooches. Appreciate you jumping in between meetings, brother.
Hey man, congratulations too, man. 100. I was talking to you offline, but I want to say it publicly just to glaze my friend, dude. 100 episodes of anything is freaking a huge milestone. Just we were talking a little about it, getting reminiscent of GDC 2 years ago when our freaking feet are sore, walking to an event before even Wolves Den. It's been just great to see your journey, man. And congratulations on 100 episodes. And to you too, Sinjin and Jerry, freaking crazy guys. Yeah, so going back to the actual topic at hand, one of the people that I probably done a lot of research on this that I really very much respect. He was a big bear last cycle of blockchain games, was Lars Duché. I recommend anybody that is currently building in the Web3 gaming or you guys want to like be more cognizant of like Web 2 developers and how they build here. He says that you can't have a carnival with 100% carnies and no attendees. And that's sometimes to earn type of economy is that there's like literally 100% vendors and nobody walking through the amusement park buying anything. And that's ended up being it, right? So like there's no problems in terms of like a carnival and making business and doing a play to earn type of thing, maybe through UGC or any of that stuff. But yeah, right now Web3 is just filled with a whole bunch of carnies and no attendees, and that's all I'll say.
100% accurate. Well, maybe 90% accurate at least. Gway, over to you, buddy.
Yeah, maybe just to add, I think the core way that I think about this is like, it basically works with any kind of economic system. Most of what's happening in an economic system is some form of wealth transfer. So that's the reason why Play to Earn doesn't work, is a wealth transfer from one cohort to another cohort. Now, this is conditional upon a bull market. Bull market makes it seem like Play to Earn is working because the wealth transfer is actually external money coming into crypto. So all the what we are earning from is the new money coming into the system, and the people who have been here done that are exploiting that. So it's basically rising tide lifts all boats for that brief moment in time where net new liquidity is coming into the system. So it make it seem like play to earn is working again, and I wouldn't. I wouldn't say that it's out of the realm of possibility that something like an Axie type phenomenon can take hold again in a slightly different variant this cycle, so that it's not immediately obvious, so that people can kind of like really get behind it. And then we're going to be talking about it as if it's like a new meta and it's like something that's new working again. We solved the entire puzzle. But ultimately, it doesn't work. It collapses on the weight of its own expectations. Everyone becomes the carnies, like Peyton said. But in the brief moment in time, it could look like it's working.
Yeah, great point there.
But
Oh, Kevin, you want to chime in?
but is it sustainable? Since that was one of the keywords asked in the question, I think, at least in that I see. Do you see it as sustainable, or do you see it as temporarily exciting? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, temporarily exciting. Long term, not sustainable.
Yeah, that's what worries me too. You're only able to get the additional, I guess let's call it the surplus tokens because people are speculating on the value of it. But now that they know the value is going to be less than the amount of tokens that you received, now we're essentially doing like scratchers or something. It doesn't feel like the same speculative value that it does without that wrinkle. Let's go over to Michael O'Connor, then I'll tag in Knock.
I think it's totally sustainable, but the money's got to come from somewhere. Someone's got to pay, right? Um, one of the problems is at the carnival, no one's paying for the tickets, so there's not much revenue to share around. But we've seen games in Web 2 generating vast amounts of revenue in ways that no one ever expected, even like 10 years ago. And I think much of what Web 3 is about is kind of looking at that. And for a lot of developers are kind of look at that and kind of go, well, hold on, shouldn't we be thinking about a way of redistributing some of that insane levels of revenue from the corporate structure down to the kind of like bedrock of all those companies and all those games, which is the players. So it is that form of wealth distribution that I think a lot of people are interested in crypto. It's like, okay, well, hold on, who's adding the value? Is there a way for us to kind of reorganize the industry so we can kind of push value in the right directions? Whereas it hasn't really been pushed in the right directions, I would say, much because like no one expected the whole games industry to go the way it did. So I think that there's a way to do it, but some people have got to pay for stuff. And if right now there's not a huge amount of games that are generating legit revenue. So, what that means is, because the players aren't either there or the players aren't paying, or it's a lot of kind of speculative value that flows in and out, as some of the kind of previous folks have said. But of course, if people start paying and there's revenue in the tank, there's definitely ways for play to earn working. It's just redistributing revenue in a fair way to the value systems that are kind of building up your business.
Great stuff, Michael. I also have some XOGP NFTs to give out as well. Shout out to those guys. Really appreciate them. Planet Atmos is their other name. So I'm going to give away one GLHFers and one XOGP NFT to somebody who retweets the space. We've already got about 25. Appreciate each and every one of you guys for helping us get the word out about this space. I'll give you till the end of this topic, then I'm picking both of those. Let's go over to Knock to drop some knowledge bombs.
Yeah, I actually agree to some degree with what Mike just said. I think more importantly, we we tend to believe and hyper focus on like specific segments of the crypto industry and say, well, this particular thing isn't sustainable. But like our industry leaders are 3 to 5, maybe 7 year old companies. Like the jury is still out on whether this entire thing is still sustainable. So I think, pinpointing teams that are experimenting is a little ridiculous to me. We've been talking about, and I think generally speaking, you've heard on CT over the course of the last year and a half, how after this next Pixels thing, the floor is going to fall out from under them. And then there was another Pixels thing. And then there was another Pixels thing. And then, we had this most recent one. And we're having this conversation again. They've demonstrated an ability to obviously drive interest in the product that they've created. They've figured out a way to continue to reward users while giving out less than they're taking in from the actual total pixel supply. And then you look at some of the historical leaders in the PDE or in the PDE environment or the ecosystem, and you're looking at teams like, Photo Finish or Stepin or Axie, a lot of teams who have historically been given a ton of shit, but are still doing significant volume in all of those titles. Stepin to this day still does more volume than the overwhelming majority of games in the ecosystem. They're just doing so through their own closed ecosystem and marketplace, but they're still doing a ton of on-chain volume. Axie is still doing on-chain volume. Photo Finish is probably having the best months it's ever had in its entire existence since it launched in 2021. So there's very clearly a handful of teams who have figured out a way to either make the rewards for users sustainable or have figured out a way to take that hype and that flash in the pan moment and parlay that into something that becomes sustainable. You saw it with Axie parlaying into the success of Ronin. You saw it with Steppen parlaying the success of Gas Hero and the NFT marketplace that they've created. You've seen it in some degree with Infinigods semi-gating that experience, taking in 500,000 US dollars in an attempt for people to get more exposure to the token upside once that token launches. We've seen teams find ways to get creative about rewarding users. And I think it's ridiculous to say that it's dead. Yes, it's going to not work for the majority of teams. We have an endless graveyard of teams who have tried to just randomly copy something that they've seen from another party in the space, and they die in flames. And but that's not the case for teams like Pixel or Axie or Steppen or Photo Finish. Those are teams who are at the absolute youngest 2 years old already, which is longer than most teams live in this space. And at the upper end of that scale, you're talking 5 or 6 years. So we've clearly seen teams who have had an extended life running this sort of system. And to Michael's point, you sort of see this to some degree with games like Fortnite, which has basically had an literally 7 year long stream of redistributing income from skin sales and things of that nature back to top players in the game through things like in-game tournaments and events. They started with a $100 million prize pool. They've been giving out $20 to $50 million every year since then through in-game tournaments that is open to anybody who's willing to participate in that. And that's coming directly from things like in-game skin sales being redistributed back to players. It's not going to work for most teams. There are plenty of flaws, way outlined a lot of them economically. But to say that it won't work is insane to me when we have 5 teams that we can look at and say, hey, they've been around for years. It's very clearly working for those teams.
I love that, Knock. Thanks for taking the contrarian point. Still letting us believe in play to earn. Couple of amazing comments. Sinpar says,
Sam, sorry, Sam, real quick. I gotta go. My hotel room's ready. I gotta try and come back, but I feel less bad about it because you flubbed my intro. But I want to say, play to earn is dead. Long live play to earn. Everyone looks at this whole thing with blockchain colored glasses. Like it's possible that money comes in from outside of Web3 and can provide value for the tokens in Web3. Don't, we're thinking too small, guys. Play to earn's fine. All right, I'll be back later, hopefully.
Thanks, Koji. Appreciate you, man. Sinpar says bullish on adding a few great new follows from all you speakers. Love the variety of takes and conversation already. If you like this one, you'll love the other 99 episodes that you can find on Spotify. Thanks so much for tuning in for the first time, brother. Non Fungible Taylor, also got to give him a shout out. Says day 235 of telling you guys that Web3 gaming is the play. And he quote tweeted us, says, this guy has had a huge influence on my belief in that. Congrats on 100 episodes of Gamified, Sam. We'll be listening to the next 100. Appreciate you, Taylor. You're the GOAT, man. Let's go over to Sinjin, and then we're probably going to wrap this topic up.
Yeah, actually, I'm cautiously optimistic, and what I mean by that is like I'm hopeful. The expectation right now is that we look at like this game as a single product, and then we hope that this one game can solve the open economy, issue with a single design framework. And the reality is, like all economies, they need to really scale and get to some level of diversity. And if you scale one particular way, it will collapse on itself, right? So like everyone knows what the game is about, they understand the mechanics of it, they start to optimize it, and it goes a certain way. But if you scale in like optionality and it creates this kind of layered complexity, it really will create a robustness in the economy. So what I want to say is that, like, yes, we all understand like what the user base is for play to earn, especially on the Ronin platform. But if you were to grow that user base as well, then, not so much about like, protecting it and, in the short term, but like really growing it with different types of mechanisms and different types of games, then the user base itself, becomes more diverse. And then you have, all these different economic loops that are introduced by these different games in like this kind of ecosystem that are addressing certain issues. So like one single game can't do it, but as more mechanisms come in, like as you scale, like fundamentally the economy will look quite different. And if people can, continue to do this, and maybe certain things won't work out, certain things will work out, but all of these things are like continually going in like tandem. That's what a real economy looks like. And it's messy to scale. There's no real silver bullet here, but as they bring it in, I'm cautiously optimistic.
That's a great point, Sinjin. I think all too often we do expect these economies to kind of operate flawlessly from the jump, when in reality, even the American economy doesn't operate flawlessly, and certainly the Venezuelan economy doesn't operate flawlessly. So to expect these game teams that are much smaller with a lot more dynamic things going on than anything that we've been trained on up until this point, it's unrealistic at best. Let's send it over to Cairo. Cairo coming up from the audience, man. Thanks for your support, brother. What you got here?
First off, congrats on 100 episodes. Absolutely insane. Dedication and grind has been amazing to watch and be a part of as both a speaker and a listener. But I had to come up and talk about this last topic because Knock was like one of the only people speaking truth to me. He was absolutely cooking in what he's talking about, and I have to put some respect on the goat's name, which is Axie. Man, everybody has such crazy recency bias, and they don't want to give flowers to the people that have held and carried this industry for a really long time. And look, Axie had $4.2 billion in annual transaction volume over the last year. And then even before that, they were doing $1 billion months in annual transactions. And with Play to Earn, they've been doing it literally since the inception of SLP. They've iterated and changed things and changed it over to their AXS token, to where now whenever you're playing the games, you buy assets, and then you earn those tokens through playing. And it's like rewards for each season. There's like 4 eras in a season, so through a season you can easily ROI if you play the game half consistently, and then plus profits like on basically anything that you buy. And then beyond that, they have like daily quests that you can go and do that are about playing the games. And if you're going and you're participating in those quests, you can make hundreds of dollars every week. I have a guild of 80 people that play Axie consistently, and I guarantee those 80 guys that are in my guild are making more money than every other Web3 game is giving out right now with what they're playing with in Axie. And people want to say it's not sustainable with play to earn, but Axie's been doing it for like how many years now? Like, and if you're doing it for a long term, like they've been doing, like how many years do you have to be doing this for it to be considered sustainable? That's what I want to know, because they've been doing it since the inception of SLP. in 2021. Still going strong to this day, still iterating, still bringing in new play to earn funds for different experiences. Every new Axie game that gets brought on, they add on more play to earn funds, and they're profitable. So I don't get how long they have to go for people to understand that there are some systems that do work. And like Sinjin's saying, like there's iterations for all of this stuff that make these economies work. It might not always work out whenever they first experiment, but I don't know. I think Pixels is kind of grabbing that torch from Axie and trying to really experiment a lot more openly and forward facing to the rest of the crypto Twitter community. And I think that like Luke from Pixels really wants to make this stuff work, and he's trying really hard on it. And I think like people need to give them their flowers because they've been making stuff work. And that's all I'll say.
Put some respect on Axie's name, says Cairo the GOAT. Dude, thank you for all of your support. You've been incredible. He also, Cairo, brought us a sponsorship that turns into sponsoring YGG. You sponsor one of the shows, you sponsor everything that is Sam. I appreciate you, man. You're a legend. Let's go over to Will Spangler for a quick chime in, then we're going to move on.
Yeah, I think it's just worthwhile to connect some of the dots that have come from the different sides of the table, because I think there's an overriding theme here. So like Kevin started with talking about Magic and how there's a distinct group of people who are, they're the carnies. Yeah, to keep this analogy going, and they're selling to the large audience that is available there. And then Not came in talking about how when you have a large enough game and you have enough people and enough revenue flowing through, it's easy to disperse it back out. And then Cairo talking about Axie as well. It seems to it's easy to have a sustainable quote unquote play to earn system when you've had an infusion of billions of dollars to start, because it gives you a lot more leeway and there's a lot more players who can go in and diversify and play with that money that's in the game. But it's a lot harder to start that from scratch. If everybody had $1 billion, it would be easy to start this up. But that's the problem that we're running into, is a lot of these games don't have a massive infusion of billions of dollars. And if you don't have that, it's a lot harder to have a system where the capital doesn't immediately flow to the top three people, and is then sort of held there. I think that's kind of the key thing. And I've said for a while now that to consider blockchain as a whole to be worthwhile addition to your game, you need to have you need to have large scale, because that's where the value comes in, is where you have that high value transfer and you need that speed and you need that security and that's kind of scale. And that's the kind of thing that we're talking about, is you already need to have the scale for play to earn to be even feasible. And that's the tricky bit. Can play to earn make you scale easily? I'm not too sure.
Yeah, that's a really interesting wrinkle, because so often whenever we talk about play to earn, play to airdrop, the entire thing was it was supposed to be the marketing vessel. It was supposed to solve Web2 marketing and the fact that we give all of our money to publishers or to Facebook and Google and do that ad spend. But instead, now you need to have already had a successful game in order to do it. So you can't market with it unless you're already huge. And we find ourselves back in the same situation that we were before. I got to give away some of these prizes, because man, we just crested 100 comments. Appreciate you guys. Cairo actually again dropped this a little bit ago. I asked for the favorite memory. I said I would give a whitelist out to one of the favorite memories. He says my favorite memory was definitely going through the Wolves Den and seeing everyone stacked up in different rooms, all contributing to the space in different ways. Unforgettable, all in caps. Appreciate you, Cairo. Filch, my boy Filch says my favorite memory has to be when Sam impersonated Sinjin's rant about not interacting on an open economy. It was also my first real time hearing the term gutless wanks. Gutless wanks, iconic. Love you, Sinjin, for that one. Dub says, can't believe this is already episode 100. There's two things that have defined my path in the Web3 journey, and Gamified and Wolves DAO are it. I still remember my second episode, and Sam told me I couldn't just make jokes all the time. Since then, I still have only made jokes. Thanks, Dub, for that. Let's give whitelist to Big Filch. I appreciate everything you've done for the space, man. You're going to get a GLHFers. Cairo, you're going to get an EXO GP. Appreciate both of you guys. I'll go through a few more comments in just a second. But real quick, I got to announce, I'm going to put out this tweet so that you guys can see it for yourself. We have purchased the gamified.gg web page, store, whatever the fuck we call it these days. And for episode 100, I'm going to do my very first merch drop that you can get online. Only feels right to give it to people that hopefully are supporters of the show. There will only be 100 of these ever printed, point blank, period. There's 3 different colors. So there's like game theory and how to get the one that might be the most rare, which I think is kind of fun. But mostly, I'm just excited to have Gamified.gg, and I love making merch. It's a passion of mine. If you ever seen me, I've probably been in a hoodie, and that's why. So I plan on getting 3 of these, one of each color. So there's 97 left. Have at it, guys. The link is also in my bio if you didn't catch exactly what I said there. Moving on, though, we have the Gamified Awards. Okay, I wanted to give a quick shout out to so many of the people that have been here week after week. So Sinjin is going to win the award of most quotable. Sinjin, what's your favorite quote that you've ever given us, brother?
I don't know, like I'm gonna eat some souls today. I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about half the time because it's like 4 a.m. in the morning. But anyways, I love you guys.
I love you too, buddy. Paul is going to win most enthusiastic. Paul was supposed to be here. Unfortunately, he woke up very, very sick. So we're hoping Paul feels better. Wish he could have been here today. Jerry is going to be the most willing to unmute for a joke, which hasn't happened in a while. But you were shooting some shots there for a minute, bud.
Yeah, and you actually never yelled at me for that, so maybe I should start doing it again.
Oh no. Koji was gonna win most fed up because he just is an old man screaming at clouds most of the time. Knock wins most likely to argue with himself. Mostly because he's the only person that probably could argue with himself and make 2 coherent points on both sides of the argument. Thanks, Knock, for that. Tony V, most likely to own a flamethrower in real life. Does anybody disagree disagree with that? Tony, do you own a flamethrower in real life?
Oh God, no! Don't do it. No, I hope not.
Yeah, he's definitely spent money on dumber stuff than that.
Yeah, I don't currently own a flamethrower in real life.
What does
I
currently
don't
mean?
currently. For the next 5 minutes until I find one on Amazon.com. Lems is going to win most reliable, and the irony is not lost on me that he wins most reliable on the day that he's not here. And then Dub wins most likely to actually play the games that we talk about on on this show. Uh, Moving on. Shit. Oh, I did a thing for the hoodies that I didn't even read. Gamers, grab your garb and get ready to grab grab the greatest garb in gaming. Gamified is gifting a glorious garment, a guaranteed gem for your gaming setup. If you're gazing upon the 100th episode of Gamified, you can gorgeously garner the garb, gloriously graced with the Gamified 100 logo. But garb this good will be gone in a galactic flash because, like episodes of Gamified, there's only 100 of them. Jesus Christ, I should have skipped that. That was a real bad idea. All right, moving on. What are the odds? Luca Netz says that Pudgies will release the #1 crypto mobile game ever released. This is big talk from Luca, but we've seen incredible success from the Pudgy Penguins in recent times. Do you guys think that they can pull off something like this? What are the odds they can do it? And what are the odds that they actually meet these expectations that they're setting for themselves? So Luca says Pudgies is going to have the #1 crypto mobile game. Just to level set a little bit, NFL Rivals and Mythical, I think they're upwards of like 7 million downloads now. So that's no longer like jumping over, the shortest kid in middle school and dunking on them and being like, I'm an NBA player. It's actually getting kind of hard to do this. Bryson, over to you, buddy.
I feel like that's a very that's very ambitious, but what I will say, what we've seen from Luca in terms of his ability to market and create an IP, and even though NFL Rivals does have an insane amount of downloads, I don't think there's been any Web3 game or Web3 project that has anywhere remotely close to the social capital that Pudgy has built up across all their social media platforms to where they could legitimately use distribution and probably accomplish this, especially if he finds ways to like add any extra incentives for fun. But when you look at the amount of people who are just consumer fans of Pudgy Penguins and will spend money on the Pudgy's ecosystem without actually needing money in return, and we've seen this over the last probably like year, I think that they have like they're well equipped to do what he's trying to do in terms of creating the #1 crypto mobile game. I think it's a lot easier said than done, but if I had to bet on anybody, I would bet on Luca to be able to do something like that with distribution. With distribution, you can accomplish almost anything. And yeah, big shout out to you, Sam, because I cannot wait to buy that gamified merch.
Oh, thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. Crazy text I just got while you were giving that great answer. Katie Bettner says, because Paul isn't there, we will give you 2 wild passes to give away, which if anybody hasn't checked, I mean, I think that's like 4 ETH or something. That's like $2,500 worth of stuff to give away. So huge thank you to Katie. I'll figure out a way to do that. I think she also just texted me. She said, I think Mythical is actually who is making the game for Pudgies. So maybe they're competing with themselves there. That's news to me. I guess I see a few hundred emojis. Maybe I'm full of shit. Let's go over to Dub. Then we'll tag in Tony Valkercell.
Yeah, Mythical is making the game for Pudgies, so that one's wild. I actually only put my hand up because I bought one of each hoodie in every color, and get ready for the selfies, fam. It's gonna be freaking lit.
I appreciate you, dude. Let's go over to Tony B.
Yeah, I'm echoing the mythical thing, and yeah, I think because mythical's working on the game, I'm incredibly bullish on it. I think I've said this before on the show, but I'm very good friends with the creative director and the executive producer for Marvel Rivals. I worked with them at EA. I actually brought them out to Amazon with me. We worked on Twitch Prime together, and they're just two of the most talented people I've ever met. And so, if that's the crew working on the Pudgy game and they're partnering with Luca, who just doesn't seem to miss, it feels like being the most successful or the biggest or whatever you want to call it game mobile game in Web3 is certainly achievable.
Well, well said, Tony. Sorry, dude. I'm realizing how much I need old Lems. I'm managing the giveaways, bouncing back and forth between Twitter, trying to unmute in time. It's a shit show. Let's go over to Michael O'Connor next.
You're holding up well there, Sam. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure we discussed this kind of at some point on the show, like I don't know, maybe a year ago, maybe when Pudgy and Mythical did some kind of partnership, and we were talking about what could happen. And actually, I remember saying something which I kind of repeat today. It's like, you know, don't doubt Luca Netz. That guy is one of the shrewdest, operators in the space. He's extremely good at what he does. I think he's probably one of the best marketers operating in the whole space. So yeah, I wouldn't fade that. And the mythical team are great as well. So they've got a proven capacity of delivering. Both of them are working with pretty supreme war chests. So yeah, I'd be pretty positive when I look at that from the outside.
Sounds like Michael is saying 10 million downloads is programmed. Then, Knock, do you agree?
Oh yeah, uh, definitely. I mean, we've said this time and time again. Like, you're going to take a bet against Luca and what they've continued to deliver, then you're an idiot and you're not paying attention to the space. Couple that with the fact that they're literally building the game, or it's being built by the guys that we're comparing them to. I think that they're in pretty good shape. I think what people don't give Pudgy enough credit for is that they have a real, like, sizable audience outside of the CT bubble. Like, there are plenty of people who have no idea about crypto who are familiar with the Pudgy Penguins brand. On Giphy alone, they have like 40 billion views. My friends are sending Pudgy Penguin gifts in fucking group chats. And first of all, fucking weird. They're 30-year-old men. Don't know why they're doing that. But second of all, and maybe more importantly, it's relevant enough, like socially, for that to be something that they're willing to send because they've seen it in other places. I think they've got an excellent brand. If the game is targeted towards kids, which it probably will be, I think that like 10 mil, if executed well, is probably the floor for this. And I don't think it's ridiculous to say it's the biggest Web3 game ever released because, like you said, Mythical is the team that currently holds that title. They're building this product. I would venture to bet that they smashed that 10 million download record.
Wild Paul says, I might be sick, but that can't stop me from insta buying this hoodie. Oh, I love you, dude. I'm gonna give one of those wild passes away since Paul and Katie are in the comments. They're talking about the merch. Somebody that screenshots their receipt and then posts it in the chat or whatever you call this, the comments. I'm gonna give one of each NFT to somebody that does that. So we'll give a wild pass away, an XOGP away, and then also one of these GLHF whitelists. There's also, hopefully that didn't interrupt too much, rejecting that phone call. I also have to give a couple away for retweeters. I'll do that in just a sec. Sorry for falling behind the eight ball there, guys. Let's go over to Jerry, then we'll tag in Senjen.
Yeah, I don't know, guys. I think we're all getting a little out over our skis here. Listen, yeah, Luca is great. Pudgy is great. I think, I'm going to disagree with Knock in that I don't think Giphy views can equate to like distribution necessarily. I had a couple weeks ago, somebody sent me a Pudgy Penguins GIF who's like not in crypto at all, and I was like, "Oh, cool, Pudgy Penguins." They were like, "What the fuck is a Pudgy Penguin, Jerry? I just sent you a GIF of a penguin fucking high fiving or whatever." So like I think we've seen teams that like have distribution like seemingly in their back pocket, and they don't always use it. Yuga comes to mind, AOF comes to mind on things like that. Do I think that like Pudgy has a meaningful attempt here? 100%. Since I will actually play the game, unlike my fellow panelists, I'd say what are the odds for 2025? I'd say 1 in 10 that they launch like the biggest mobile game of 2025. With the caveat that if Mythical releases FIFA Rivals, that is going to be the biggest mobile game. That is gonna wash everything. I don't know what the timeline looks like for that, but I think nothing will come in even close to competing with that. But yeah, Mythical's great. I think they're not just developing. I think they're also taking a pretty heavy hand in publishing for Pudgy. So there is a legitimate, very good odds that they make a breakthrough game. Um, but you're competing against some dogs, right? I think Fableborn is going to have something to say about that. I think King of Destiny is going to have something to say about that. So 2025 looks like a really good year for mobile and Web3. So I don't think this is as much of a slam dunk for Pudgy as everybody's making it out to be.
I love that you actually played the game mode. Thank you, Jerry. You are my hero. He says 1 in 10. Let's
I
go
will
over to
take a
Sin.
whitelist for GLH efforts. Thank you.
Let's go over to Sinjin. Sinjin, what are the odds Pudgy can actually pull it off in 2025 or 2026? It's not time
Uh,
gated.
yeah, well, I think eventually they definitely will pull it off. I think the reason why is because what's good about Luca is that he's very good about um, taking like really good milestones and making them happen. And then from that particular milestone, I think he sees the next step very well. Like had they done this right off the bat, like 2 years ago or whatever like that, would have worked out? Like probably not. But he gets himself in a good position. And I think for Luca, he sees a lot of clarity in that next step and he takes things step by step. And I think it's really amazing to see. I don't think it's going to be a wash. I think it's going to be successful. Will it be the best crypto game ever? Mobile game? Obviously like Failborn and some other ones that Jerry mentioned as well. I mean, yeah, that's really going to be tough. But like in terms of making an impact and like pushing his brand forward, if he does do very well, then you have to think like, what is Luca going to set his eyes on next? Because I think it's going to be very achievable in the sense that how they set themselves up.
Very achievable. That sounds like over 50% to me. Kevin Lambert, do you agree?
Whoa, had to find that mute button. Hey, thanks. Um, I'll come out with a little spicy take here. Still keeping it constructive. I think the bar of achievement for best Web3 game is still really low. So very achievable for anyone to hit that. I think that there's two measures of success for that. Like when we look back in a year and we'd be like, did they do it? I think it would be like, is there like, commercial success of the Web 2 game play, and like, are there people playing it? Are there, using my personas, are there Chads in there playing and Billies? Or is it all Vinnies, or did they leave? So there's that. And then there is the Web3 side. Um, Super confident that they are going to succeed on the Web3 side because they have so many hits. They understand the space so well. They've shown great prowess in this area. And so I think they're going to, and they're on and up, like they have trust. Like we all want to say yes, right? Because of they've led us, in such great directions so far. So they're already poised for success on the Web3 side. The Web2 side is question marks. There's some good data to show that they've got like some crack developers. And I was just wanted to add that the bar is so low. So I would say 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 that they will hit that they have a good chance of hitting that. And then I guess we'll see.
Great stuff, Kevin. Let's send it over to Will Spangler.
Yeah, so I think, as everyone said, Luca's smart, he knows what he's doing, Pudgy's reliable, etc., etc. But I think what's like the question that comes to mind is like what would happen if they launched the game tomorrow? If it's like, flash forward, what does it look like? What are the mechanic? What does the launch look like? How do they market it? Like we were talking not too long ago about, the arcade machine that they had set up. That's what's really got my interest peaked, is what else like, they're not just going to launch a mobile game. It's going to be something larger. It's going to be tied into the IP ecosystem. It's going to be attached to the collectibles that you can buy at Walmart. If you buy a Pudgy, you get an extra Pudgy character in the game. And then if you go and you play on the arcade machine, your Pudgy gets a cool hat. It's gonna be like an ecosystem. I don't know if anybody knows what I think they were called Go-Go's. They were like Skylanders kind of thing where you'd buy and you'd put them on the top and you'd attach them to your PC and you could show everybody your cool little character thing. But that's the vision I have, is that, like, how is he going to get people to buy pudgy stuffed animals? How's he going to get the kids involved and expand it into this massive kind of IP where it's not just a mobile game, it's something much much larger. And that's why I think we're kind of talking about it in much smaller terms, and Pudgy has shown us time and time again that they're looking at the big picture. So that's what I'm excited to see. Like, I think if you launch a mobile game right now, odds of success, I mean, like, odds of success of any mobile game are like 1 in a million. But it's what you do outside of the game that's really going to elevate it. And I think that if he times it with some big like, whether it's like an online event or a merchandise tie-in, or you use X amount of Pudgy gifts and you get points, like, how is he going to use all of these growing systems to make this game successful? And on that end, I think that they have the capability to pull this off. So I'd say it's definitely likely.
Great stuff, guys. Let's see. I think Luca Netz and Pudgies continuing to win will help all of Web3 gaming, so I'm certainly rooting for them. A bunch of stuff to give away. I also see a few people telling me they're having trouble with the payments or they can't ship it to their country. I'm DMing the guys, seeing if there's anything wrong with Stripe, and then also making sure that there's no way for us to be able to potentially turn on international shipping. I'll let people know if that's possible. But we'll save the Wild Pass giveaway a little bit longer just to make sure that everybody who wants to is able to sort of enter the raffle there. I'm going to give two more out for GLHFers. Toto and Cesar Martinez also both gave us the retweet for GLHFers. Thank you so much. You guys will win. Make sure you slide in my DMs. And then for XOGP, I'm going to give it to Citizen7 from Minted Solid. This name was a throwback. Great to see you again, man. Minted Solid is actually the people that minted my PFP into a physical for the Wolves DAO. And it still sits behind me right now. Jerry, you have one too, right, bud?
Yeah, those guys are fucking great, dude. Shout out to those dudes who sent some to the middle of nowhere US for you and I, Sam. Those guys are fucking awesome.
Yeah, man. They literally sent it from Australia like a year ago and asked literally nothing of us. Just like the best dudes. Really, really appreciated that. We're midway through our magnificent mission. Let's make a maneuver to thank our mates at Avalanche. They're the Sub-Zero superheroes, ensuring our digital deeds are as smooth and as safe as a snowboarder on fresh powder in a suit of armor. Whether you're dodging bullets in the firefights of Off the Grid or scaling the magical peaks of Maple Story, Avalanche is the summit where Web3 gaming truly shines. Thanks for being the official chain of Gamified. And I do want to take a second to just give a special, special, special shout out. Avalanche has been with me for well over a year now. They have been incredible partners. They always let me have my creative freedom. They always support me on social media. They've brought me to incredible events. They've brought me amazing guests, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I could go on. But Coop, Park, now Wills, Ed Chang, who's now at SoFun, everybody else over at Avalanche that's just treated me with immense respect and enabled me to produce something that I like to think people enjoy quite a lot. I have to give you an insane debt of gratitude and say truly thank you for doing that for such a long time. I'm hoping I'll be able to say this about the next couple of partners that I'm about to rattle off. They've been incredible to this point, just maybe not quite as long as Avalanche has been. Up next is Game 7 Nation, a gaming haven where players have the power. Did you know they've got 175,000, I forgot how to say numbers for a second, 175,000 monthly active Mavericks making moves on the Game 7 portal. They've also got 400,000 citizen avatars on chain, and they've given away over $1 million. With Hyperplay as your highway to hassle-free game discovery experiences and World Builder whipping your world into shape with wealth-generating wonderlands, Game 7 is the real MVP. And don't forget their ginormous, groundbreaking MetaMask partnership, opening the gates to 30 million global gamers. Thanks to the official infrastructure, Game 7. Star Atlas, of course, gamers stash your snacks and turn up the volume. Star Atlas has released yet another host of pure cinema with gameplay videos showing off ships, cities, skylines, and shooters. They're already over 3% of Solana's daily transaction volume, with so many more ways to engage coming in 2025. But they believe in showing, not telling, so I'll make you wait for that one. Thank you to Star Atlas for being the official game of Gamified, setting the standard for space age excellence and proving that in this universe, the players will rule the day. Way's ABC's audience segmentation. Way wrote a banger thread that echoed through the waves of the Wolves DAO, both in our Telegram chat, in our Discord. I saw people quote tweeting it, giving their feedback. Kevin Lambert was DMing me about it. I'm sure you guys talked already because he wrote a thread kind of similar not too long ago. Way's thread claims that the Web3 gaming audience breaks down into three distinct categories: A, B, and C. A is the speculators, the people that are just here for money. B is the gamers, the people that are just here for games. And C is what I would consider myself, a gamer who enjoys speculation. Now, that's not revolutionary, but the thing that he put in there that was a little bit controversial, that got people a little bit spicy, was he was saying C, the gamers who just enjoy speculation a little bit and not as the pure reason they're here, all become part of cohort A, which is just speculators, because money is really, really tempting and the games are not very good. So that basically means that we only have two cohorts, which is A and B, especially in a bull market. So, with that being said, I wanted to open this up for discussion. Do you guys agree with Way's audience segmentation? And he actually wrote another thread today about how to interact with these, knowing that A, B, and C exist. Let's go over to Dub, and then I do want to tag in Way to maybe elaborate a little bit on this, maybe add some color given his thread today.
Yeah, dude. Big shout out to Way for putting the words behind the things that like we've been watching happen over the last couple of years. I strongly agree with his feeling on the cohorts of these speculators slash gamers just eventually becoming pure speculators. I think especially over the meme token era and now this AI agent era, I've seen a lot of people that just used to be nothing but game guys just being deep in the trenches, quote unquote. And that means they're literally in discords trading tokens, and that's all they're doing now. And maybe they'll come back to gaming, maybe they won't. For myself, like I'm still finding myself gravitating towards gaming and all that stuff. So I'm not convinced that it's a cut all for everyone, because I definitely view myself as a degen and everything, but still very much a Web3 gamer too. So we'll see how it goes. But man, I feel like a lot of it is truth based off what I'm seeing, like just my friends in the space doing lately.
I appreciate that, Dub. Let's go over to Way, then we'll tag in Knock.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, I've been thinking about this for a while and just felt like I need to put pen to paper, and it's great to see kind of the discourse that happened from it. But I think two things that I really wanted to draw out. One is just I'm hoping that like people that are coming into the Web3 space to build games, just recognize it for the challenges that it does present. So I think a lot of people on this panel, like we've been here for a long time, and we've seen so many instances of kind of like cop out behavior from founders to say like, well, that wasn't really what I expected. I launched an NFT collection and or a token, but really I'm just here to build a game, and there's I don't owe anything to anyone. Where we know that once you do that, like the genie's out of the bottle, and that comes with its own expectation management, that comes with its own type of delivery of milestones and being able to actually ship promises that you provide to the market. So I think that's one underlying spirit of the post, is just to carve that out and just call it out and say, hey, look, if you launch anything that's like financialized, this is what comes with it, and you better understand what you're signing up for. I think the other aspect of it is this point. Like, I'm speaking in generalities. I think there are always going to be exceptions. That there are always going to be people that are much more in the space for the pursuit of finding good games to play, and really, have tremendous support and respect for those people. I think in general, when you look at human nature, they gravitate towards things like financial incentives. I think money games, in and of themselves, are incredibly intense. In a bull market, you throw caution to the wind. It seems like making money is very easy. And in the aggregate, markets are a form of gameplay itself. So I think that's the dominant utility that everyone expresses. But there's always edge cases and exceptions. And I think there are also going to be exceptions where people that are primarily speculators would find themselves wanting to play a particular game all the time as well, because they just really enjoy the game. But I think in general, once you enter the Web3 space, you start to get a hang of things and you start to kind of get your first 10x or 100x punting on some random token on pump fund. I don't think many people cross back, especially in a bull market. So that's basically kind of the two underlying key themes that I want to convey.
Yeah, it does feel like if we do get them back, it'll be about 6 months from now, or whenever this craziness comes to a halt. Let's go over to Knock.
Yeah, I mean, I wholeheartedly agree. Just to kind of set the stage, right? There are like 18 real games available for people to play, and half of those games probably aren't very good. Most teams launch things like NFTs or tokens a year plus in advance of the actual game product. I don't see how there's a path for anything other than, yeah, I'm here. Money would be great, but I'm here to play, and I probably fall into that C category. If you're waiting 12, 18, 24 months to get your hands on that game, you very quickly move to A, because if you were just somebody who fell in the B category, you'd open up Steam and you'd find one of the 10 million games that already exist there that are playable that you have an opportunity to play today. I think most of the people in the space like to, pound their chest about the fact that they're here early, and they're an early participant in Web3, and they're early participants in gaming ecosystems, but they also complain about what that means. And a lot of the times, especially in this space, especially in gaming, you have extended development length times. Games take 3 to 5 years to make. Those games typically enter the Web3 space in year one or in year zero. So at best, you're waiting 3 years for them to deliver something that is actually fun to play. The only way that you have to interact with those titles between the day you find them on Twitter until the day that they release that game is speculatively through the assets that they've delivered to the space. I think a lot of founders in the space have come to Web3 for a couple of reasons, but the two biggest ones are some combination of, we really believe that this tech can change the way that games are made and change what we can do with games. And this tech makes it a lot fucking easier for us to raise money to build that thing. And that's not a bad thing. But in that sense, even those teams are coming into the space and speculating on the belief that this is a hot market. There's going to be easier funding than it would be in the traditional markets. And to give users shit for operating in the same way, I think is a little insane to me. The best teams in this space have found ways to introduce speculative assets, tie those assets to the game and the ecosystem that they're building, all while finding the balance between delivering valuable insight on whether or not that game is developed, and what that development process looks like, and playing into the speculative game and the nature that is Web3. It's an attention economy. If you're not doing something, i.e., have a game available for people to play or have a speculative vehicle, nobody's paying attention to you. And most games only have the speculative vehicle because they're 2 years away from delivering a title. Of course, people in category C move to A. I'd argue that, with the exception of like Dub and four other people like Dub, everybody's in category A.
Some great comments. I'm going to read one right now. PD6, big fan of the show. Appreciate all your support over the last couple of years. He says, maybe I'm not jaded enough to be in cohort A, but I definitely feel like I'm more in cohort B. If anybody doesn't remember, cohort A is the pure speculators, B is the pure gamers. He says, I'm still ridiculously more excited about a good game being launched with cool NFT utility than any positive gains I could get from selling those NFTs or tokens. PD, great comment. You've been a huge fan of the show for a long time. Let's give PD a GLHFers. Appreciate you, man. DM me your wallet. And I'm getting word from the squad that's handling the hoodies that we are able to turn on shipping around the world. Sorry for not having that on, guys. We should have that on now. If not, check it again in a couple of minutes. But hopefully that's accessible for you guys. Looks like Canada and EU are both on, and hopefully even Asia if anybody's over there up in the middle of the night like Sinjin is. Let's go over to Sinjin on that note.
Yeah, what I want to say is, like in the current market, I'd say wage assessment is absolutely true. But like moving forward, I mean, two things we got to consider is really gameplay and culture, right? If I look at poker itself, right, like that's all about making money, real money poker. But um, from way back when, I would say like maybe like 2008, we did an assessment on who are the net winners on the platform at PokerStars. And it was only 2.3% were actually net winners. And the rest were, the net losers. And um, what that means though is that why are people still playing poker? Well, because there was a lifestyle, there was like a kind of culture there. And reality wise, just as Knock is saying, like, if there's no gameplay out there, and that's just the speculation. But once we do that, and if we actually crack the open economy issue, right, and the gameplay is compelling enough, then what's going to happen is there's going to be a community that forms around that. It will be their identity, right? And it won't be just based on earnings. And then the motivation, like the composition of what that motivation is, it will change, right? So right now, a lot of times we look at it, and because funding is so critical, and TGE and all this other stuff is so critical, it plays completely into the financial aspect and speculative aspect of what we're doing. But once it really gets out there, a gameplay that's compelling, that a gamer will look at, and even like what I would even say is the speculators look at, and then they look at it and say, this is a really compelling game, and I can get actually an ROI from playing this game, and actually grind it, and it's not just about speculation, then we're going to see a change at that point.
From the man himself who's done it before, let's go over to Michael O'Connor, then we'll tag in Big Will Spangler.
I love the two previous takes from Knock and Sinjin. Yeah, it's well, where to start on this? It's a really interesting, props to Way for a really insightful bit there. I guess, one of the interesting things that I've seen over the last while is just how so many so-called kind of Web3 gamers are pure retail investors. It's really interesting when you get product into the market, and when there's people who've been following your ecosystem, you've been with you for a long period of time. Some of those folks who are like the most kind of what appear to be ardently the most purest Web3 gamers all of a sudden kind of are perhaps not that, because now their bags are on the line. So they're kind of all of a sudden like business geniuses who are really keen to impart advice on what you should do in order for you to be able to, raise the price of your NFT or raise the price of your token. Why? Because they're holding those bags themselves. So I think, the Web3 gamer um, cohort is, you know, yet to really truly emerge. If we're honest, I think that most folks are, the Web3 gamers, it's a small cohort, I would say. Most are more so in group A, as Knock alluded to, if we're really deep down about it. I think there's also an aspect of like, those retail investors, let's say those who are more purist about investing, they have a tendency to, like all people, I suppose, in some sense, they have a tendency to spend their time looking at the kind of things that they're interested in. So they are interested in Web3 games. That's a really interesting thing. It's a conceptually cool thing. The people themselves are, probably Web2 gamers in their spare time and stuff like that. They're probably more knowledgeable about the video games industry than they are about, you know, DPIN or something like that. So it makes sense for them to apply their time and their money to the things that interest them. So I do believe, I think St. John leaves a point of optimism there that over time, I do believe that that will continue to evolve. And, as we see more cool games that are able to optimize secondary markets as a really fun part of the game, I think that we're going to see more people kind of flood into that Web3 gamer segment. But it's a process, and it's going to take some time.
Great point. I see Knock put the hand back up. I want to go to Sinjin, then we'll tag Kevin Lambert in. We'll circle our way back.
Yeah, I want to give an example by throwing Michael under the bus a little bit, but also uplifting him as well. Great example would be Limbo's launch. Sorry to bring up trauma here, but like, motherfucker, people were pissed off, and operationally, maybe it didn't like turn out really good in terms of launch. And everyone basically posted like, fuck these guys, they just fucking blew like whatever 2 years of goodwill off, and shit, and they just fucked it all off, and fuck Michael, that fucking motherfucker because he just fucked everything up and shit like this. And Michael writes an apology and then he gets fucking shit on again. But the thing with Limbo is like it's backed by real fucking builders. It's built by like not just someone who's like building an AI agent to fucking tweet some shit, but a real fucking infrastructure. And so that vision, and Michael just kept on fucking trucking. And then now Limbo has made that comeback where you have like long threads, especially, Grail, like he fucking tells it like it is. And he says, well, like, yeah, they fucked it up the launch, but you know what? Look at what they're really fucking doing. And then that comeback and that vision sustains things where then the speculative narrative gets reformed around that vision. And I think, it's right now, again, it just shows how fucking early it is that, again, as day traders or people who are looking for an immediate return and want everything sexy all the way through, yeah, you're gonna piss them off sometimes here and there, or most of the times. And in the expectations that we're making in the market, you can't help but like create these expectations because otherwise you get drowned out and it's just not sexy enough. But the vision of the founders and the actual game and what we're really doing, and we want to like brush this aside. But the reality is making a game is an art, it's a science, it's a fucking beautiful thing, it's culture. And if you can actually pull that off, and when we do pull that off, especially in Web3 as the gaming segment, that's going to pay massive more dividends than what people are looking for. And the speculators will fall in line when there's real like traction and momentum going on.
Just to quickly dive in and kind of touch on that. Yeah, the funny thing is that yeah, there was massive FUD around the launch. Lots of justifiable, lots of crazy lies as well. But here's the thing: we put our heads down and we're like, okay, let's just do what we do and try to ship cool things and show people cool things. And over time, of course, we always hope, I think all of us, everyone, whether you're building or not, you hope that good product and good stuff just kind of comes out. And luckily enough, that's kind of been continuously happening for us. So now kind of Limbo's, by 10 or whatever in the last couple of weeks. And it's funny, all of those kind of business experts who are texting me, they've all kind of gone back to being Web3 gamers again. Um, so it's interesting how people change their hats depending on the circumstance, I think, And listen, I think every builder here knows that you're going to have to deal with FUD at different points, or at least nearly everyone is. But like as Charles Bukowski says, it's always about how well that you walk through the fire.
Great stuff, Michael. Things you love to see. I remember on one of the posts shortly after the launch that was heavily flooded, I commented, look, guys, I am the last person to give my expertise on how the launch should have gone. Fuck if I know. I'm not that person. What I can say, though, is I am genuinely excited about what you guys are building, and that hasn't changed. And it's been absolutely awesome to see you guys sort of reclaim that and have everybody slowly fade away with their bullshit that was just related to launching and not related to actual core products. So congratulations on seemingly sort of getting through that. I know we're never truly through that in this space, but it's great to see, man. Mike also drops that awesome comment. He says, everyone feels Web3 and gaming go hand in hand, but to him, it's not clear how we get there yet. He says, fantastic space, very insightful and grounded comments from all the speakers. Appreciate that, Mike. Since I haven't seen you in the show before, I'm going to go ahead and give you one of these XOGP NFTs. Thanks so much for dropping in, man. Hope you'll join us again in the future. I realized I skipped over Will Spangler. My bad, man. Let's go to Spangler, then we'll tag in Kevin Lambert. Just kidding. We're going straight to Kevin Lambert.
Oh, I love a good default story. Um, Thanks, man. This is so funny because this article feels so similar to the one that we did with the three personas, the Billy, Vinny, and Chad personas. And it's just really another way to slice through the same psychological breaking apart of the motivations of why we're all here. And I like in my version, I think I noted that likely everyone on this show is a Vinny, or at least has some Vinny in them. I think everybody is here for profit motivation. We're all here for the money. We're not here for the tech. We're not here for the game. We're not here for the art. although we also are here for those things, right? So, but as one of the big proponents of let's show experiential ownership and reasons why we can go beyond the money, I am one of those people. It's in my DNA, it's in my blood, being a UX maxi. So I think there's way more to it. But, given that we're all here for profit motivation, there has to be some kind of element of that in the product. You have to serve that. And everybody's choosing to do that a little differently. Some people are like just mortgaging the hell out of their futures on day one and hope we can pay that off long term. We're taking a different approach where we're just serving where we think those people are on their home turf. Like, speculators and gamblers like to do that. We're going to make an experience that's very native to that there's an earn potential in. And then we're going to make a game experience that is very native to people who want to play a fun game. And you can play on both sides of that if you want, right? You can play both, or you could play just one, So it's a little bit, it feels a little safer that way. But I think when you look at everybody here, we are all in the center slice. I mean, I guess there's probably people here who don't play games, but maybe very few. But that's how we separated the Chad and the Billy profile. Both of those are gamers with a gameplay motivation. And when you look around the room, there are not many of those today. Pure of those today. Like, we're all here with a little bit of number go up, and also we love games. I think over the next 3 to 4 years, we will see the space mature. And Sinjin kind of alluded to this. Like, today, we're kind of here, but fast forward 4 years, I believe that the space will be more mature, the valuations will come a little bit more down to earth, the expectations will be more aligned with what you get, because we'll see some successful games and be like, okay, well, in 5 years, here's how high number go up in that world, and then here's kind of how fun the game is in that world. And once we have that, I think we'll be a little bit more aligned, and there will be less pressure on dev teams to serve the profit motivated individuals in specific ways. They'll be able to do it however they want, to, as user acquisition, or to generate liquidity or get excitement up front. And they won't feel like they have to, like, or they'll build something like poker and they'll be like, hey, if you make it to the final table, you will make money. But that expectation is set for all players from the start, and everybody is like accepting that contract when they engage in the game of poker for money. There's like, if I don't think I can final table, then I don't have to play, so like, that's cool. So I think there are many flavors of this that work, and that was another great breakdown. It was cool to see another perspective in addition to the ones that we did. And so, yeah, it's cool.
One of my favorite things is seeing the way that builders engage with each other, especially whenever they have to interface on a show like this with content creators, with people that build in different ways, and then also with audience members who are just game players in a lot of examples, or community managers. It's one of the coolest things, being able to forge your opinions in the fire, and to see two founders approach similar ideas but in different ways, and then to be able to grow with each other based off of how they're sort of interpreting it, is really, really cool. Let's try to tag in Wills again. Looked like he was having some audio issues last time around.
There we go. We good?
All
Can you
good,
hear me?
brother.
Let's go. So I think, like, I would agree with Kevin that everyone here is, an in the A category. But I don't know about you guys, but every pitch deck I've seen for the last 3 years has been telling me about how they're going to onboard the next billion bees. And I think one of the themes of the discussion that we've been having today is that maybe we don't want to onboard all of the bees, because then there's nobody to buy what the A's are investing in and moving that product. And I think that that's the majority. That's where everybody is. Everybody is in B. I don't think we've talked enough about the B's, and how we are trying to appeal to the Web2 gamer and the part that we play in that ecosystem, because humans are, we'll optimize towards the best experience. And I think that there's been this kind of mental gymnastics that a lot of the space has been doing for a while now, where it's like, people, if I want to play a game, I'm going to go and play the best game that serves that purpose, that is the game playing game. If there's an investing game, but I'm an investor and there's better investing vehicles out there, I'm not going to play the investing game because I'll just go invest. I'll do penny stocks or meme coins or shit like that. And I think what we need, instead of trying to move people between to move people from player to investor and assume that, oh, everybody wants to make money, so let's allow them to make money. No, I think what the past 3 years have shown us is that most of the web 2 gamers are very set in their ways. I mean, if you follow any public discord about web 3 gaming, it's not great from the traditional gamers. They don't like it and they don't want it, in a lot of cases. And I think we need to be conscious in that. And instead of offering people opportunities to invest and trying to get them in on the idea of financing and investing and getting in early, people who play games are interested in game development. They already enjoy that and are in. I think somebody talked about, gamers know a lot about game development. Obviously, not as much as actual game developers, but they like to think too. So how do we play into that? And that's where these kind of that's where I see the real value of the kind of that C category of the gamer who wants to help games succeed. And that's where I see myself, not as an investor per se, but like as someone who wants to help games. Like so many games saw so much success on Kickstarter, and that's not for no reason. It's how do we give those people who kickstarted a game the value that that game generates? And that's where the real success is. Investors are going to be investors, and if you want to invest, go invest. But if you want to play games and you want to help games succeed, that's why we're here.
Great stuff, Wills. That was an awesome take. I want to give you guys a heads up. Looks like International now turned on. Got some DMs, saw some posts. Shout out to Adrian Extern that copped one wherever he is in the world. Knock also DM'd me saying he bought one in Canada. Appreciate you guys. So if you want to get that in over the next 5 minutes or so, I'm going to pick somebody to win that wild pass as well as the GLHFers and the XOGP. Speaking of Knock, though, I'm going to send it over to him for his take before we move on to the next topic.
Yeah, I'm gonna channel my inner ICO beast here and maybe make some people angry a little bit. But I think the reality of it is, if you're building in Web3, if you've made the decision to come to this space and build your game in a very public setting, a setting that does not exist in traditional markets, if you're choosing to allow people in to every aspect of your business, the development cycle, the speculative nature behind the assets that you're launching, and then you complain about the game, you're an idiot. Like, you've made a decision to come here, to build a product here, to build in a market that is not fun. And I don't envy builders in this space. I love them. I love the fact that we've got guys like Mike and Sinjin and Kevin and Wei building things in this space. But what they're doing is insanely hard. At the same time, if you come into this space and you sell assets and you use that as a way to raise funds in a non-dilutive fashion, i.e., you're not selling part of your company away, but you're still taking in money to help you build the thing that you say that you're going to build, and then you are frustrated when those consumers talk about the price action of those assets, you're either ill-informed as to what's going on in Web3, or you're willfully ignorant and pretending that what is the case is not the case. And the fact of the matter is, people here are playing a speculative game. Everybody from both sides of the coin. And the teams that understand that are the teams that will have extended success. I will use Mike as an example. I publicly was not I gave a less than glowing review on the launch of Limbo, but I've been bull posting Limbo basically every fucking day since, for a couple of reasons. The biggest reason of which is that Mike and team took that on the chin. They decided, hey, this is the game that we play. It didn't execute well on launch. That sucks. But we've got two options. Option one is to whine and bitch and complain about the fact that the market is the way that the market is and get mad at everybody. And option two is to put our heads down, to continue to deliver product, continue building the community, continue doing everything that we've been doing so fucking well for the last 2 years prior to this moment. And we'll just keep doing that thing. And eventually people will look at this in a different light. And that's exactly what you're starting to see with Limbo. That's something that has dropped as low as 1 mil FTV, is back up to 15 mil. The public sentiment of that product has completely shifted. And everybody is excited about what today the game is building, is because they're a team who is building a real product, who has been building in public, who has taken very public L's and then rebounded from that. They've played the game perfectly. Those are the types of teams that you want to succeed, because they understand the fact that this is a speculative market. You're going to have people speculating on your product, especially if you choose to deliver those products to the market. But the upside for both players financially and games financially is infinitely higher than what we've seen in traditional markets, because the LTV of users is significantly higher. You can't both complain about the fact that people want to make money and then brag about how much more money they're willing to spend on your game because they're playing that speculative nature. It's two parts of the same coin, and I think ultimately good teams, like the founders that we have on the space today, a bunch of the ones who are regulars on Gamified and Simplified, the types of people who participate in the ecosystem deeply understand that you're building a live service product, which is a speculative asset on the blockchain, and you're building a game. That game has an extended runway. It's going to take longer than that product will, and you're going to have to find ways to manage both. And if you can, you're going to be rewarded unlike anybody has ever seen in the gaming industry before. And if you can't, well, good on you for trying, but that is the market. You can complain about it or you can play the game. At some point, you'll see the future that Sinjin described, where this isn't the case, but we're still probably 3 or 4 or 5 years away from that actually being the case. So if you're here today, continue playing the game like the great founders on the panel today have been, and have some fun with it. But to complain about the way that the market is when you chose to deploy in this market is just insane to me.
Damn, great take. Seems like a lot of the panelists agree there. Kevin Lambert, I see the hand back up. Over to you, buddy.
Yeah, I just want to riff a little bit. I totally agree with Knox's perspective here as well. Yeah, you have to acknowledge the side of the moon that we are all on, willfully so. But also, and I also agree with what Will said, and your way of looking at it's like, you know, there are many ways to invest. Some are very pure, and some are way less risky and very natural. And why don't you just go throw into the S&P or Tesla or GameStop if you want to invest and that is your goal, rather than get in here in gaming and do some kind of weird hybrid thing. But so that perspective makes sense to me. But what I'll say is, like, this is probably going to be a really shitty analogy, but I'm gonna do it because I've already pot committed. Some people like nuts, and they're like, why would you want nuts in your Ben and Jerry's ice cream? uh, when you can have just nuts straight out of the bin. And I think the answer is because some people really enjoy the way that nuts taste when they're mixed in chocolate ice cream.
Are we still talking about what I
What the
think we're
fuck is
Oh
talking
my
happening?
God, what have I
What's
done?
happening, dude?
What have I done?
about?
I went too far. No, but like, it's just like, we all enjoy games and investing. And when you put the peanut butter and chocolate together, that's a way better analogy. Some people really like the way that comes out, right? So you're like, I want to do both of those things together. And an experience when I can do both of those is way better than doing each one separately, although I do both separately also, so I think the line is a little more blurry. That's all. I just wanted to say that.
It's
And my
actually a
I
horrible.
could give a text position analogy to make that more clear for others. But
it's intrinsically a good analogy, but I would pay a month's salary to watch Kevin give that speech of ice cream and nuts to like a group of Web 2 people and just see what the fuck. Oh, that's great. All right. I actually didn't tell my panelists we were going to talk about this one. I didn't think we would have time for it, but I've got to know. Okay, we're going to end on a fun one here that will do our MVP of the episode. I've got to know what people think. What's the word for Elon Musk and his Path of Exile 2 bot account where he got exposed for not knowing what the fuck was going on in the game because he was playing on like a top 10 hardcore character, which clearly he is not a top 10 hardcore player. He didn't know half of the base mechanics. I'll give you guys just a second while I give some big things away. So people that bought hoodies dropped comments. I'm gonna give the first one out. Adrian Extern, thank you so much for picking one up. XOGP whitelist or NFT to you. Slide my DMs. I'll make sure you get that one. The GLHFers, Icy copped all 3 hoodies, man. I appreciate you. Icy is gonna win that GLHFers. If anybody didn't see in the thread that's pinned up too, I gave Icy a huge shout out. He's been the official number one fan of Gamified for a long time. Just an endless support system for me. I love you, buddy. And then the wild pass I'm giving. The redemption arc is complete. I'm giving it to Big Dub. He copped 3 hoodies. Not only that, but I've beaten him 9 consecutive times in wild pass or wild card. Excuse me. This guy cannot get a win to save his fucking life. So I'm gonna hand one to him on a silver platter. Dub, congratulations on your wild pass. Thanks for supporting Gamified. Thanks for being a friend. Thanks for being a fan. I appreciate you, man. All right. What is the word for this Elon Musk fiasco with Path of Exile 2? Dub, I'm sending it over to you first, buddy.
Holy shit. I love you and I hate you at like the same thought at the same time. The word is ego. I have a lot of it. Clearly Elon has a lot of it too. It's the only reason why he's doing this. Like, it's crazy that the most wealthiest man in the fucking world has to buy an account to make himself look cool to his fans while playing video games on the fucking platform he bought. Like, like if I could funnel my inner late night Paul Bettner, like, fuck this guy, man. It's insane. I can't believe it.
Dude, if we had Paul on right now, that would just be peak fucking content. Let's go over to Sinjin. Sinjin, what's the word for this, bud?
Hilarious, and I love it. 2 words. It's funny as shit because like he's a fucking gamer noob. It seems like. But you know what's amazing about it is that gamer identity, like it's so strong. Like it doesn't matter how rich you are, how powerful you are. People go see movies. It's like across the whole spectrum. People play video games. It's across the whole spectrum. So I thought it was fucking hilarious. I think the nerds online who are like hardcore, Path of Exile, Diablo players, they're like fucking up in arms, and that's funny as shit too.
That is a good one. Let's go over to T Valk, Tony Valkersel. What's your word for Elon fudging the
It,
numbers here?
it's so thirsty. Elon wants us to love him so bad. He wants to listen to this and he wants to hear us saying, Elon, you're so cool, man. You're one of us, bro. We love you. And if you're listening, Elon, just know that you can call Glitter Cloud Solutions anytime and we will introduce you to Web3. But no, it's super thirsty. He's just like, pay attention to me, pick me energy. And, I'm here for it. It's funny as shit, but that's what it is.
Tony, if you get me Elon as a direct sponsor of Gamified, I single-handedly will, I don't know, let you win at Sparkball next time we play. Let's go over to Knock. Knock, what's the word?
I don't know, man. I personally believe that he is a full-time CEO of Tesla, SpaceX, Boring Company, Twitter, apparently TikTok US, and manages to play 2,500 hours of PoE every single year. Who the fuck believed that this was this was real? This is just absurd to me. Like the Elon fanboys would have you believe that he does absolutely everything. What was that? What's that fucking movie? Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, or whatever the fuck. That's him. That's what he's trying to be. It's nobody's buying it.
It what truly is just absolutely incredible that he thought he could get away with this. Like Diablo 4 has been out for a very long time, so I was like, oh, okay, yeah, he plays like 3 hours a week over the last year and a half, like maybe sure. Path of Exile has been out for like a month. It's been out for like a month, and he's beaten the entire game, and he's found the rarest things that are like 1 in a million drop chance. Like there's no way, Wills, over to you, buddy. What's the word?
My word is ICP. It's so funny to ideal client profile. It's so funny to hear everybody on this panel talking shit on Elon when this is exactly the guy we're making games for. This is that guy who doesn't have
It's so
time to
true.
play games and wants to buy assets at absurdly high prices. Look, I like where obviously he's botted it, he's got a big ego. I'm just saying, guys, be careful, don't talk too much shit, because these are those clients you're saying are out there.
Did anybody else think whenever he said ICP, he was gonna call him a juggalo because the insane clown posse?
100%. 100. I was like, Sam, let's break out the eye black, boys.
I'll see you. I'll see you at the Wolves Den in the Eye Black for the Insane Clown Posse sesh. Over to you, Michael O'Connor. Michael O'Connor, what's the word?
I think people actually underestimate that this is an incredible and a massive win for Paul Bettner. So the word is victory.
Big Paul doing his victory lap, even though he's at 104 fever right now. Kevin Lambert, what do you think, man? What's the word?
That was so good, by the way, the Paul Bettner comment. I'm sorry. That was funny. Um, I respect the hustle. Like my expectations are super low for people who are doing amazing things and crazy things in their, and games are their extracurricular activity. Like I would have a lot higher expectations if someone in this space were making claims and then whiffed in that way. I'd be like, oh, bro. But from someone like Elon, like it's just like, yeah, it makes sense. Me as someone who has a career and tries to play every single game, anyways, if I made a claim, I mean, I wouldn't make that claim, but like I don't know. I think it's really cool that he's playing, but maybe if I had to pick a word, a little cringe, right? Because whenever someone with a big ego whiffs in that way, you're kind of like, oh, that's gonna leave a mark. So I don't know.
It is a bit cringe. I think we did this in the Wolves Dow Telegram chat. I asked people what was the word, and mine was like ingenious because I wouldn't have talked about it except for like if he was just a Path of Exile player, I wouldn't have talked about it. But now that he's put himself into this fiasco, I can't help it. It's like watching a train barreling towards a mountain or like a cliff or something, and I need to see what happens, even though it's devastating me internally. Let's go over to Jerry. What's the word, man?
The word is crypto, because I think a lot of what you have seen happen with Elon is the same shit I've seen happen with so many of my friends, dude. You give dorks too much money and they just fucking lose touch with reality, and they become fucking like walking memes that are just caricatures of like real people, and they want to be cool. And it's like, dude, if you didn't get lucky with like buying Bitcoin early, you'd be fucking. I don't want to say anything mean about people, but you'd be flipping fucking burgers somewhere, you know? And I don't know. Do we all know like a million versions of this? We're all probably a version of this, you know? So I don't know. This is just what happens when you give fucking losers too much money. I'm not even really an Elon hater, but yeah. I mean, I don't know. The guy's fucking sock puppet account got found out, got exposed as being a Path of Exile noob. Just whatever. Stop giving losers money.
He's
Tell
stacking
me
up that.
you're never early without saying you're never early.
Let's go over to Knock.
Yeah, this is just like a personal like little side note here. It's also fucking ridiculous to pretend that you're that good at a video game. I say this all the time. Like with the exception of Cairo and Inhuman, everybody who plays games in this space, no matter how good you are or what rank you are, you're garbage compared to actual professional level players. And to like cosplay as a pro, as somebody who actually logs like fucking 10 to 12 hours a day playing that game, actually spends the time to review film about the things that you've done, and then be like, oh yeah, I do that in addition to running all of these other companies and being the world's richest man. Like the amount of ego that is needed to even pretend, even to even conceive of doing something like that is just fucking diabolical. The best gamers you know are shit. Elon is no better.
Absolute banger take, Knock. All right, we've got a few more things to give away here. I'm going to give the rest of the stuff to people that tell me who their MVP of the episode was in the comments. We'll see with this Wild Pass. I don't know. We've given away so much stuff. Maybe we should keep it for next episode, do it for 101. Maybe we'll just give it away here if there's enough people participating. But I don't want to double up too much. The Betners were very generous with that. I appreciate it. Also, again, shout out GLA Jeffers, XOGP, Planet Atmos. Really appreciate you guys making number 101 so incredibly special for us. I'm going to do the ad read real quick so people have a chance to give us their MVP of the episode votes in the comments real quick. As we chill out on this captivating conversation, let's give a frosty farewell and a flurry of gratitude to our friends at Avalanche. They're the cool cats of the cryptosphere, the pioneers of the permafrost, and the official blockchain of Gamified. Don't be left shivering in the cold. Join Solo Leveling, T1 Esports, Off the Grid, the California DMV, for God's sake, and so many others, making your very own L1 blockchain to your own specifications. Thank you to Avalanche for being the official chain of Gamified. And of course, we got to give a big, thunderous thank you to Star Atlas, the official game of Gamified and our interstellar sponsor. Star Atlas has spent the bear market building a universe, pushing Web3 boundaries, and setting new standards in transparency and player ownership. Star Atlas believes in showing, not telling, so I'm not spoiling 2025 for you yet, but go to play.staratlas.com to get involved right now with the Golden Carnival, which is giving away $4 million. Remember, with Star Atlas, you're not just a player, you're also a pioneer. And of course, with Game 7, they're flipping the script on the traditional gaming grind. Forget those greedy gatekeepers hoarding all the loot. Game 7 is putting their gold where their gaming is, ensuring 80% of all revenue goes straight back to the players. You love to hear it. With over 150 games already on board in the Game 7 army, it isn't just about pressing continue. They're shattering records and respawning us into a brighter gaming future. So grab your game pads and get ready to conquer the next era of gaming with Game 7 and get in touch with the official infrastructure of Gamified to see how they might be able to help you. All right. It's time for the MVP of episode 100. The stakes have never been higher. You love to see it. Manny says T-Valk. Mai Sumao says knock. MVP Mount Doji says dub for coming up with the selfies. I guess he's already ripping them. VGF says he just copped a pink hoodie. You love to see it. Mr. Kite is MVP according to AE Mac here. Mr. Kite, of course, being Michael O'Connor. Kobe says knock in the comments. Jaxie says Paul and Katie Bettner for giving away those passes. Man, I'm inclined to believe with you there, or agree with you there. Glun.ron says MVP is the person that told everybody that Web3 gamers suck except for Cairo and Inhuman. That's knock. Okay. All right, Jerry, who's your MVP pick here, bud?
Um, well, Sam, first of all, hold this. This is gonna change my answer. Are you have the hoodies at your house? Can I just Venmo you and get one, or are they only online?
No, thank God. I don't have to ship them myself. They are shipping from the manufacturer.
Ah, God
I'm
damn it.
gonna buy some myself though. So if you want me to order an extra one,
No, I'll get one. No, dude, Sam, the obvious MVP here is you. You've put together something awesome. I know you don't like us doing this, but 100 episodes of this. This has been far and away, the best show and one of the best avenues that Web3 gaming has for being able to just discuss and figure out all this shit out in real time. Like Koji said, that there isn't a playbook, but you have put together a space for all of us to be able to start to figure one out. So it's you. There's nobody else. I'm not voting for anybody else.
Thanks, buddy. That means a lot to me, man. You're the best, Jerry. Huge supporter of the show since practically day one. And the format just simply doesn't work without a Jerry, without a Sinjin, without a Knock, without a Dub, without a Icy, without all the people that have supported us along the way. Now without a Paul, now without a Michael, now without a Gway, now without a Kevin. The list goes on and on. It keeps evolving, but it means the world to me, man. Dub has the hand up next. Who's your MVP, bud?
Man, fucking Jerry stole my goddamn line. It's clearly Kevin here, because of the nuts joke, and solely that. Well done, Kevin. Way to make the 100th episode really, really shine.
That is so good. I'm sorry, I was laughing. I'm just like, my wife is gonna never let me live this one down.
Who's your pick? Who's your MVP?
Man, my MVP is Dub, but not because he picked me. It is because he got the wild pass. He reps wild card. He deserves a win so badly when he plays the game. I love that he is probably one of the strongest, most pure gamers who will absolutely become a Chad in our personas if he isn't one already.
Judging by the fact that I've played against Dub a bunch of times and I've seen how terrible he is at wild card, I can confirm he does not deserve to win until he stops sucking so fucking bad at that game. Let's go over to Michael O'Connor, who's your MVP of the episode.
Oh wow. Yeah, I mean, I thought Knock was absolutely on fire today with some amazing takes. Also spoke really nicely about me, which was really cool. And but I'm not going to pick him because he spoke nicely because I sent him loads of limbo and ancient seeds. So I think, yeah, listen, I think Jerry's right on Sam. It's it's episode 100, man. It's incredible what you've built here. From a builder's perspective, it's been so cool. I think I can speak for a lot of builders here who are kind of privileged to be able to get a platform to be able to discuss views and to kind of rub shoulders with other different views and kind of like riff on other aspects of this industry and to hear these different voices. It's just really a unique pleasure, I think. And no, everyone kind of says it, and it's true. It really is true. So, um, thanks, buddy. Congratulations on number 100. We all love you.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you too, man. Let's go over to Sinjin. Sinjin, who's your MVP of the episode, buddy?
Oh yeah, it's got to be you, man. Yeah, Jerry called it out real good. I just, I'll go over time a bit and just say like, so Sam comes up to me and on Discord and says, "Hey, man, like, you want to participate in this, Gamified?" And I'm like, "Are you sure, man?" He's like, "Yeah." And then I go, "Well, you know how I speak?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I go, "Well, like, I'm the opposite of political correct, and I'm gonna fucking tank it, and none of your sponsors are gonna want to actually sponsor the show." He's like, "It's okay. I mean, you bring in energy, like whatever." I go, "You sure you want this fucking energy?" And I go, I can kind of tone it down." He's like, "No, no, just be you." I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I'm like, "All right, fuck, let's do it, right?" And it's been fantastic. Um, Sam, you have been one of the biggest supporters for me personally in this entire space. You and Peyton, and the Wolves and stuff like that. And on another note, like getting the chance to speak with the other founders, like we have our own kind of informal like group. It's not an actual group, but like we DM each other, like even during the spaces when someone says something stupid, like they're just a bunch of fuck nuts, and we go, "What a little shit." And then we get a ping and whatever like that. But it's been fantastic. And like one story I'll just share really quick was we're in Dubai, and it's flooding like a motherfucker, and no one can get anywhere, and everyone's just held up. And I'm in the Wolves chat, and you know Thawny or Tony, he's stuck there, and he's my boy. I love that guy so much. So I'm like, fuck. 3 hours later, it hasn't gotten picked up. I'm like, fuck it. I'm gonna get a Uber and get you and pick you up. And Michael Connor, he's in the chat as well, and he's like, "Where are you guys?" And we're like, "Oh, I'm on the way," and whatever like that. And he's like, "Well, I'm at that restaurant too." Because they, managed to get out of the airport, and then we ended up picking up Michael and his buddy as well. And then two hot chicks tried to like get in the car, and I'm like, "Oh man, I like these guys so much, but these women are really hot too." And I had to turn them down for these guys. And then, I ended up rescuing them, and I ended up paying like the, taxi driver a lot of money just to make sure that he would just go where we wanted to go and not, get hijacked by these hot chicks. But like, that's all because of you, man. Even like the, founder support, kind of network that we have is, you brought us all together and then gave us space to really be ourselves. So yeah, from I love you, motherfucker. I mean, it's fucking great, and I love your mom too. Tell her that I still love her.
Yeah, Mama Steph, we love you.
That was a compliment that only Sinjin can give, man. I don't think I'll ever receive anything like that in in my life. Because of you, I turned down two hot chicks and instead gave a ride to these dudes at 4 a.m. in Dubai during the worst flood of all time. That was just absolutely bizarre, but it somehow encapsulated perfectly what you've contributed to the show for damn near 2 years now, dude. I love you. Reflect all of that right back at you, man. I couldn't do it without you. Let's go over to Gway. Gway, who's your MVP of the episode, bud?
There's no fucking way I can follow up after that from Sinjin. I just
You can.
this is terrible ordering. I I mean, I'll just say ditto in terms of the sentiment that everyone has expressed for you, Sam. I think a huge, tremendous fan of what you have done for the space, and truly, I think we formed a friendship over the time that we've known each other, and I just love to see the continued success for the show. Yeah, love being part of this community that you have built, and nothing else to add. So definitely the MVP of the 100th episode from my perspective.
I really appreciate that, man. Yeah, like again, likewise, dude. I mean, Gway, as soon as I won Content Creator of the Year, I took a meeting with like 50 different companies talking about, who do I want to be an ambassador for, who do I want to work with, what do I want to do. And Way, his real name was the one that stuck out to me more than anybody in 50 back-to-back meetings across 2 weeks. It was that dude and the connection and the way that we saw the industry evolving, and to see you guys flourish and how you pivot and how you continue to develop your tech stack and all the things that you're doing is just, it's like I feel like I'm watching my like child play college football and he's like about to get drafted in the NFL or something. It's bizarre in like the absolute best way. I love you guys. Let's go over to Dub. Dub, who you got, buddy? Oh
Wait,
wait, we already
what?
did Dub. We already did Dub. Fuck you,
Yeah,
Tony.
man.
Tony.
Fuck you too.
Tony. Tony B. Over to you. Tony, who's your MVP?
Yeah, just to follow suit, it's definitely you, Sam. I'm so excited that you've been able to be as successful as you have with this content, and I feel like I've been here not since the beginning, but pretty close, and it's been really fun to watch. I do think that I feel like we're kind of like experiencing a Goodwill Hunting moment here, where like you wrote the movie about yourself and put yourself in the starring role, so that now on this episode we all get to spend time talking about how much we love you. But I think it's great. I love Good Will Hunting, and I love you. Congratulations, buddy.
My boy's wicked smart.
Wicked smart.
All right. Last but not least, over to Spangler.
My boy is wicked smart. Yeah, no, I mean, put me last and think I'm going to be the dickhead that doesn't vote for Sam? Hell no. Sam, everything that has come out of this show has been absolutely phenomenal, and I've been honored to be a part of it. And losing one job isn't going to keep me from supporting you. So don't think I'm going to stop anytime soon.
I love you, man. I wouldn't let you guys do this any other time except for the 100th episode. Knock with the hand up.
I'll be the one who doesn't give Salmon for one simple reason. I think Sam and I are both people who, for most of our adult lives, have lived behind a microphone or behind a camera or in front of a camera, creating content, speaking to people, doing this. And I think it's really easy, as we reflect on episode 50 of Simplified and 100 of Gamified, to kind of forget how ridiculously cool it is for so many people to spend so much time on shows like Gamified, coming up here, speaking, sharing your opinion. It's something that can be insanely daunting, especially as the founder of a business, especially as when the things you say reflect on your business. It's a scary thing to do. It's an incredibly fucking cool thing that so many of you guys do it on a weekly basis. And again, as somebody who's just done this their entire adult lives, you take a step back and you realize it's kind of abnormal. It's really fucking scary, but it's really cool that you guys do so every single week, and it's part of what makes Gamified so special. Yes, it's possible because Sam has organized this all and put together a great show every week for 2 years, but you absolute madmen who come up here and are willing to give spicy takes and are willing to speak like Sinjin, you guys are the real MVP.
10,000%. I said it before. I said it in the thread that I posted today. I'll say it again. If I just turn on a microphone and scream at the internet by myself, I'm a crazy person. But because a bunch of people are talking with me and listening in the audience, that makes it a career. And that is an insane arbitrage between those two things. And I'm going to take my FaceTime for the first time ever just because I want to be able to say thank you to the people that listen. Because what I heard from the founders here is they want a place where they can talk about things in public that do not have to relate to price action all the time. Did the token go up? Did the NFT go up? What's happening in the market? Whatever. They want to be able to talk about things that relate to Web3 gaming that are not related to that. And that is only possible if people like the people that are in the audience right now are willing to listen to something that is not always price related. And so if you've been a supporter of Gamified, you've allowed us to get to 100 episodes where we basically never talk about NFT price or token price. That is because of you guys. You are putting your time where your mouth is, for lack of a better way of putting it. And I am eternally grateful for that, because I would hate to have to make this show about the next 10x. Like that is something that's very fun to do. We do it on Simplified sometimes, but I don't want to do it all the time forever like many of the other spaces I see. I want to talk about the cutting edge, the future of this industry, how we build it together, how we make it better week after week, and also mix in some fun and also mix in some whatever. And again, it's only because great founders that actually give compelling takes and are willing to disagree and are willing to be funny, and then amazing, amazing, amazing audience members that allow us to do that. I'm real quick just going to try to name off a few things. Slide in my DMs. Evan Mann, he says gamified, or excuse me, gaming on AVAX is my MVP. Bullish on brands investing in quality marketing to build trust. Couldn't agree more, man. Big shout out to AVAX, like I said earlier. Jean-Paul Farage, who used to be Etherway, says MVP is Sinjin. The reason is, in the fewest words possible, he cuts through people like a freshly forged katana, which is very on brand. Hell yeah. Matt Defies, love you, man. He says MVP is Fresco, aka Jerry, never afraid to be the contrarian, to provide unique angles and just make gamified more entertaining overall. Absolutely, absolutely. Mount Doji also is going to get something. I'm not sure. I have to figure out what it is. MVP goes to Dub for the upcoming hoodie selfies. You love to hear it, man. That's going to do it for episode number 100. I'm sorry, guys, that we were a little bit sporadic and disorganized, not having the co-host, trying to do a giveaway, trying to launch merch all at the same. It's been a lot, but man, it's just been one of the great joys of my life that I get to do this with you guys and to be able to share this with so many people that mean so much to me is something that I'll never forget. And I really appreciate all you guys, and I can't wait to be celebrating 200 and hopefully 300, whatever that looks like. You know, maybe it's on Twitter, maybe it's somewhere else, but we will keep riding together. And I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you I'll see you next time. I'll see you next week.